Sí. Todas las mañanas en los uniformes.
Teofimo Lopez training with Canelo Alvarez ahead of the Shakur Stevenson fight is one of those moves that instantly shifts the tone of the build-up. It signals intent, not noise. And a major reason it carries weight is Eddie Reynoso's presence throughout the camp, adding structure, discipline, and a serious edge to the preparation.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cambio, vamos. Que te vengan aquí. Para el siguiente round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1.
This isn't about headlines or gym selfies. It's about refining weapons in an environment where Eddie Reynoso's championship standards aren't optional. They're enforced.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sí. Todas las mañanas de los uniformes.
Teo made it clear this wasn't a split or shakeup. As he put, "My father and Eddie Reynoso have been in communication, and I think this is the best option. I'm not stepping away from my father. He was actually the one who insisted I join Canelo's camp. My father was there. It was great. Let's see what comes of it." That detail matters.
Eso, un tiempo y arriba. Ándele. Un tiempo arriba, un tiempo abajo. Eso.
Break.
Eso, ya le está doliendo ahí, ahora le metes en medio, güey. Ándele, muy bien. Ahora no le tiras nada. Nomás te sale. Camina. Lo llaveas, ya.
This isn't Teofimo running from his roots. It's him expanding them under Reynoso's watchful eye. Training alongside Canelo and Eddie Reynoso's camp is about learning how to apply pressure without rushing, how to stay calm inside chaos, and how to turn patience into damage. It's elite mindset work as much as physical sharpening, shaped by Reynoso's philosophy of control and efficiency.
What's it like seeing him now kind of face to face? When you look at him, what do you see? Because obviously you're not locked in just yet, and the closer it gets to a fight, obviously things turn a little bit. But when you do look at Shakur, what do you think of him?
I think I don't think too much of it. You know, I think that he believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it. I've bled for this, you know, and I'm not taking nothing from him, but I just believe that what's gonna happen next is for destiny and the boxing ring to decide.
You can already feel the intention behind it. Teofimo isn't just preparing to beat Shakur. He's preparing to stay composed when the fight gets uncomfortable. And when a fighter known for explosiveness starts adding layers of calm, timing, and ring IQ under Eddie Reynoso's influence, that's when things get very interesting.
Ever sparred, Shakur? Yeah, absolutely. We sparred, but we only did like 3 rounds, and it was pretty much simple. It wasn't too crazy. Yeah.
But do you take anything from that? I know it's only 3 rounds, but do you take anything out of that 3 rounds that you shared with Shakur?
It's interesting. Him, I did 3 rounds. Gervonta Davis, I did 3 rounds. Only those 2 guys I ever did like rounds that were so minimal. And but you leave that aura to that fighter so that they always plays in their mind eventually, you know. So
why did you do only 3 rounds with both of them?
I think that was all they wanted. They were swapping around, so we didn't do too many rounds. Yeah, I think that he was just there preparing for his fight that week. So it was just like.
And right after hearing about Teofimo absorbing lessons in Canelo's camp, the discussion naturally rises a level because you start to see how significant this moment really is. Listening to Max break it down, it hits you that this is one of those rare times boxing actually does things right. No dragging out for years, no waiting for someone to fade. Just two high-level fighters colliding, while both still see themselves as the next era of the sport.
Listen, if Stevenson wants to be on his stick and move game, very difficult style matchup for Teofimo, and maybe not that entertaining to the fans.
Because Stevenson's longer.
Exactly.
Stevenson's defense probably the best in the game, and he's longer.
Great reflexes and timing, and so does Teo. That's why he's a great counterpuncher. But Teo's, he's a very special athlete.
Teofimo is a two division Ring Magazine champion. In both fights where he won the Ring Magazine championship, he was the underdog. 4-1 underdog against Lomachenko. People forget, Lomachenko was taking elite fighters in the lower divisions and they were quitting.
Yes.
He was beating them into some, they were like, I can't do this, right? And Teofimo beat him. Right, he outboxed him.
Yeah, he didn't do it by physically imposing himself on him.
He outboxed him, he outfought him, he had speed.
That's why framing this as a high-speed chess match feels perfect. It's not a sprint and it's not a stalemate. It's a fight where every move carries weight. Teofimo is the type who saves his best version for the biggest nights, and we've seen that before. Doubted all week, then emptying the tank late just to prove a point. Shakur, meanwhile, is that calm presence who makes you feel like you're losing without ever panicking. That contrast is what makes this so dangerous. One man thrives in chaos, the other in control, and neither one plans on blinking.
The thing I like about Teo's style, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can box, you know? The easiest thing in the world is just to pick him against everybody.
Right. Yes.
But Teo also has the kind of footwork, Malik, where he steps around guys. Sorry. Shakur has more to lose.
Yes.
He's the undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound-for-pound champ, potentially. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Kambosos, and he came back from.
I find myself agreeing when Max brings up the underdog factor, because Teofimo with his back against the wall is a different kind of threat, free, inventive, and dangerous in bursts. At the same time, it's impossible to overlook that Shakur's defense isn't just flashy. It's structured and reliable, and structure usually holds up when things get tight. This doesn't sound like empty hype. It feels like two belief systems crashing into each other. One fighter is gambling on moments, the other on precision. And hearing it framed this way doesn't lock you into a prediction. It makes you want to sit with the fight, let the rounds unfold, because this is a kind of matchup where the narrative shifts multiple times before the final bell.
See Shakur standing his ground and fighting in the pocket more than people expect.
Do you see him being successful doing that, Doug?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like this fight is a winner's bracket fight from an era, but we're getting it now. You know, when you look at like Tank and Haney and Ryan and this and that, and Shakur and Teofimo and Lomachenko, even though he was older, but there were a whole bunch of really talented guys in and around the weight neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I feel like these two could have easily been the two when the dust settled left standing, but the dust hasn't settled yet. They're just getting it on.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what excites me about.
And this is where the whole build-up quietly clicks into place. After all the analyst camps and predictions, you finally hear Shakur himself and realize this fight didn't need long negotiations or promoter drama. It happened because two confident fighters picked up the phone and said, "Let's do it." That's real fighter energy. No ducking, no weight games, no trying to tilt the field. Just Shakur saying, if you want him, you meet him at his strongest. That alone tells you he's not here to play it safe. And I love how calm he sounds while calling Teofimo unpredictable, unfiltered, and dangerous, while still giving him full respect. That isn't fear, that's clarity.
Yeah, I'm gonna make him pay for a lot of them things that he said about black people. But at the end of the day, I know he's not racist. I know him deep down inside. He's truly is a cool person. He wants to be great, and this is the type of fight that I really enjoy.
You guys had the press conference last week and the face-to-face and all that stuff. What did you make of his vibe there? The face-off was interesting, and some of the things that he was saying at the press conference was interesting. What did you make of his vibe overall?
I think something mentally wrong with him. I don't think he's like all the way there mentally. I think he's crazy.
Legit?
That's my opinion. Yeah, I think he's legit crazy. I think something really wrong with him, but that's what make him dangerous. I think them the guys is the most dangerous people. Them delusional, crazy people who want to be the best and want their spot at greatness. So I gotta respect it, but I think something is definitely awful.
That's awareness. Shakur isn't trash talking for attention. He's studying the chaos and preparing for it. The New York angle adds spice without forcing anything. Teofimo may claim the city, but Shakur knows exactly whose faces he'll see when that crowd lights up. And that's why this doesn't feel like fake rivalry. It feels like two elite fighters who genuinely believe the other is standing in the way of something historic. When Shakur talks about legacy, about 4 divisions, about chessboards instead of callouts, that's veteran thinking in a young body. And when he says he doesn't care who walks out second, you believe him, because he's already decided the ring is where the argument ends. One guy thrives on unpredictability. The other thrives on control. And when those worlds collide at Madison Square Garden, you're not getting a gimmick. You're getting a statement fight. Confidence without noise. Tension without acting. And that's usually when the real drama shows up on fight night.
Didn't Floyd tell you that you should be the A-side?
Yeah, he did. He told me that he think that I should be the because I'm the bigger name.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So when you hear senior and junior say things like, that you haven't fought anyone on his level, what is your response to that?
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Teo has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
And right after hearing Shakur speak with that calm, locked-in confidence, the conversation naturally shifts into promoter reality when Eddie Hearn jumps in and starts pressing on the exact pressure points everyone's been quietly thinking about. Listening to Eddie, you can't help but nod, because this isn't hype talk. This is risk assessment. He's basically saying, look, Shakur's boxing IQ is elite. The kind that makes fights feel frustrating if you're on the wrong side of it. Not flashy, not reckless, just smart enough to keep you a step behind all night. When Eddie compares that level of thinking to the very top minds in boxing, that's real respect, whether fans love the style or not. But what makes it interesting is that he doesn't dismiss Teofimo either. There's no rewriting history here. Beating Loma still matters. Being dangerous still matters. And that balance is what makes this matchup real, not manufactured.
Do you think it depends on what Teofimo shows up?
Yeah, it always depends on what Teofimo shows up. I think Shakur beats him.
Yeah.
But the weight, again, right? Don't forget, Teofimo's a big 140.
Yeah.
Shakur is probably a small 135. Right? Or not really a big 135.
Yeah.
Teofimo's talking about going to 147. So you have a big size disadvantage going into that.
The pause you hear from Eddie isn't doubt, it's uncertainty. Because Teofimo is the kind of fighter who never shows up the same way twice. And that's the is.